Death Tube. Now, when I first saw this movie poster, I was thinking, does YouTube even know about this movie? I mean, they're pretty much stealing the font and color scheme of YouTube. If you guys want to see Japan's take on Saw, but less gory, and with the villains dressed in bear suits, then I got the movie for you. So the movie starts off like this. Like Saw, there's a group of strangers that get trapped in a building. Oh, big surprise, right? And these people wake up, each separated in their own rooms, and they are quickly woken up by this mysterious voice on the loudspeaker. And the loudspeaker basically says, do this game or die. And the people within these rooms are like, how did I even get here? And what happens if I don't do the game? And they quickly notice there's a computer in each room, and they're being live streamed, hence the title, Death Tube. And a lot of the commenters are just mean, saying like, oh, I hope this person dies, or that person dies, or who do you think will survive, or who do you think will die first? A lot of people are haters on the stream. And in the true Saw genre / survival horror genre, the people have to find out why they're playing this game, how did it even get here, and who's the major villain. Now, in the first 5 minutes of this movie, it's apparent that this movie is really low budget. It's pretty much like an indie B movie. I really think the movie was just shot in one building, just like the original Saw. You can definitely see from the props and cheesy special effects that the producer and director didn't have much to work on. It's safe to say they pretty much had a shoestring budget, and the movie would either be carried or sunk by its acting, the villain, and the traps. Yeah, about the acting. The acting is pretty much a mishmash of B-grade talent, let's get honest. I mean, like, you have some actors that actually do pretty well. Like, you can see they're up-and-comers or they're really good. And you see some actors that just overreact. You just really can't believe that they're scared or they're put in that situation. And I actually laughed a bit because the acting in a couple characters is just pretty shoddy. It's just pretty bad. And maybe these actors are going for the comedic element, or maybe they were trying. But yeah, I mean, some people did okay in their acting, and others, whew, wow. It takes theater to a whole new low. As for the villain, you know, in Saw they had the Jigsaw Killer, and you know, it's pretty scary, and the mask looks pretty intimidating, especially with that warped voice that the Jigsaw Killer has. In Death Tube, they have their own Jigsaw Killer, but it's this bear. Yeah, it's a bear, and it looks more like a Pikachu than someone that's trying to kill you. And while the bear does have its charms, it's just not as intimidating as the Jigsaw Killer. In fact, during the movie, to mock the participants, he actually does exercise in front of him. Him and his bear buddy, both dressed up in costumes, both just do some aerobics for like 5 to 10 seconds. And you're just basically like, what are they doing, you know? And this bear villain is pretty much in front of the contestants throughout much of the movie. So you're basically asking, why don't the participants just like jump him? He's like right there. In other survival horror movies, the villain always keeps their distance, or they're always like heard on a loudspeaker. But in this case, he's just right there. So why don't the contestants just like mob him? Well, he has a gun. If you mob him, he'll shoot you. I know, this movie's pretty weird. So yeah, the villain's right in front of him, like a mere like 20 feet away from him, and the contestants can't do anything. And this movie's main vehicle, the games, are quite interesting. Whereas in Saw, you have like death traps and whatnot. In this one, you have kids games. You have games such as solving a Rubik's Cube, running around the warehouse room, and eating donuts. But one of the donuts is poisonous. Yeah, I know. This movie's even getting weirder and weirder. I get ya. Now that I told you guys about the basic plot of the movie, now it's time to get on to the good and bad of the movie. First, the good. Now you might be wondering, with bad acting, a low budget, and a weird bear villain, what's actually good about this movie? I actually enjoyed the movie because it actually kind of felt like it was poking fun of Saw in a way, because of this cheesy acting and its low budget and all the stuff I just mentioned earlier. Like, it was like, wow, like, who would watch this? But I actually was laughing a lot in the movie because I couldn't really take it seriously. It felt like this movie could have been part of the Scream series, where it was basically just mocking teen horror movies. I did like some of the messages they had in this movie, as well as the ending. The ending's kind of weird, but I actually liked it. I also liked the silly games that they played, as well as the unique angle on the survival horror genre. Now the bad. I already went through some of the bad. It pretty much had low everything, low budget, the acting's terrible. They pretty much rented a warehouse. You have this bear villain that's not really scary. You'd probably be laughing at the movie like how I did. You can pretty much feel like this was an indie movie all in all. The movie's like 1 hour and 56 minutes, and they could have probably cut off a good 30 to 40 minutes and made it like a 70-minute movie, and it would have been a lot better. As it stands, this movie's almost 2 hours, and it didn't need to be 2 hours. Trust me, it really didn't. And another thing I didn't like about this movie is a lot of the character subplots were unexplained. They didn't really talk about their motivations for getting out, or why they were there. I know, and that's really weird because you'd think that one of the major premises of this movie is how did they even get there? And some of the characters' backstories are either missing or barely touched on. So I would classify this movie as a good, bad movie. So what's a good, bad movie? It's a movie that's terrible. Trust me, this movie is pretty bad. But it's a good movie because you can find entertainment, usually laughing. So my final verdict on this movie? Watch this movie if you want to turn off your brain. Yes, you have to turn off your brain. If you start thinking about this movie, it doesn't work. And you want to watch a comedy survival horror movie. You want to laugh and be kind of shocked at the same time. You want to see villains in bear costumes doing aerobics, or you want to see Japan's take on Saw. So I hope you guys enjoyed this movie review of Death 2. So what do you guys think about this movie review? Have you seen Death 2, or do you want to watch it? Please leave your comments in the comments below. And if you guys have any other recommendations for Asian survival horror movies, we'd love to know them in the comments below. And lastly, if you guys want more Asian movie suggestions, please sign up for our email list and download our free ebook, The 108 Asian Movies to Watch. And with that being said, I'm off to watch another Asian movie, but I'll be back, promise. So I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.